service and finance team. And backed by the one-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish.
Them 3-1. So we'll continue to track this game and see when LSU gets started. But when they do, it'll be LSU's third game in as many days, and they're trying to knock off South Carolina. They've previously beaten two teams, and now they'll have a chance to do it for 3 days in a row against South Carolina. We talked about it a bit yesterday. I've been asked it a ton. People have wondered, if LSU goes a top 16, can they host a regional? Flatly, the answer is no. You need to purge that out of your brain. On Georgia, LSU weeks and 56 games prior. LSU has done what they aim to do, which is to get in the field, and they've done that. As a matter of fact, Baseball America today updated their regional projections, and this is really what you're looking for at this point, which is, okay, how high, if LSU keeps winning, can they keep climbing? Can they get off of the 3 line up to a 2 seed? That remains to be seen. But, for example, Baseball America, in their projected field of 64 today, they have LSU as a 3 seed in Santa Barbara. Now, here's as they have LSU going there, which means LSU, in theory, would be the best among the 3 seeds. So that's the positive thing, is if you go out to Santa Barbara, you're in a very winnable regional. Now, the tricky part is your 2-3 game would be against Oregon State, Santa Barbara the 1, and Grand Canyon the 4. So a very winnable, manageable regional where there would be absolutely no atmosphere whatsoever. You'd probably have more LSU fans there than Santa Barbara. Like, that would be a dream scenario. The tough part is if you win that regional, you're paired with the number 1 national seed, which in this case, in this projection, is Tennessee. So, yes, very winnable regional, difficult to go to Knoxville and try to win a super regional. So that's kind of what you're playing for, is seeding at this point. And we'll see if LSU can keep going. We did find out last night, as a matter of fact, I was doing a live stream on Nightcap, which is a show we started on Wednesdays during COVID and brought back these past couple of weeks. I got a phone call during that live stream telling me that LSU was starting Thatcher Herd. And I was surprised, candidly. I think we talked about it yesterday. Jay, over the last month, really 6 weeks, has shown you how they're approaching their pitching staff. It's Jump, Holman, and then it was Ackenhausen until he had the hamstring issue. Then they went with Dutton, and now it's kind of been one or the other at this point. So I assumed it would be one of those guys today. But the reason I love the decision to do this is because you really have nothing to lose. You are firmly in the field now. That's not even a question. You are firmly in the field. So at this point, you're kind of looking at it saying, what is it going to take to advance once you're in the field? Now, I believe with the combination of Jump and Holman, you can make a run. Ole Miss did it with Dylan DeLucia and Hunter Elliott. They had 2 dudes who were awesome for a month, and they ran it all the way to the national title with those 2 guys. You can do it, but you can't lose. If you fall into the loser's bracket, then you're really in trouble. If you find some magic here today with Thatcher Herd, then all of a sudden the dynamic of how you approach the postseason changes dramatically. The reason I'm a little surprised here is Herd had been non-existent. Since the Florida weekend, which was March the 24th, since they played Florida on March 24th, Herd that day went 4 2/3, allowed 5 runs on 6 hits. Since that day, he had only thrown an inning and a third against SEC competition until the Ole Miss weekend when he went an inning and 2/3 in that Ole Miss game, and he looked really sharp. But from March 24th through the Alabama series, Thatcher Herd had only thrown an inning and a third against SEC opponents. This is the guy who was your Friday night starter to open this season. And he was a complete non-factor. Before the season started, Muse and I did a thing where we ranked our top 10 most important players for this LSU team. We both had Thatcher Herd number 1. He was the guy replacing Paul Skeens. He was your Friday night guy. We all assumed LSU was going to hit. How could they figure out pitching? And the pitching had to be dominant. And Herd was at the front of that. And he's gone from being your Friday night guy to a total non-factor, not from your Friday to your Sunday, Friday to a midweek Friday to not even pitching. But now here you have an opportunity to see if maybe he can find some of what made him so good a year ago. The stuff is great. We know it. The guy throws mid-90s. He's a top 100 prospect. I looked last night at MLB.com's updated prospect ranking. They have Thatcher Herd number 101. Even after this season, he's still right there bordering on a top 100 prospect in this draft because the stuff is that good. That's not me saying it. That's objective, that's a subjective opinion from people who are scouts rating prospects from MLB.com. So the stuff is there. That's not debatable. Can he command it? That's the big question. We'll find out today. But, man, if Thatcher Herd can find what he had last postseason, all of a sudden the entire complexion of how you approach the postseason changes. It's not going to change whether you go jump Holman. You'll still do that. But your opportunity potentially to come out of a loser's bracket, to win the third game of a regional and not have to face an elimination game on a Sunday night or a Monday, all of that changes if Thatcher Herd proves he can be a guy that can extend for you. And look, last year in the postseason, I'm talking about regional, super regional Omaha, Thatcher Herd had 4 appearances last year in the postseason. 17 innings pitched. He allowed 7 runs on 13 hits, which that's not great, but I'll give you some context in a second. In 17 innings pitched, he struck out 25 and walked 9. The big outlier was when he threw against Oregon State in the regional. He went 5 innings, allowed 4 runs on 7 hits, but he struck out 12. Remember that day? It was feast or famine for Herd that day, but still struck out 12. In the national championship game, the deciding game of the championship series, 6 innings pitched, 2 runs, 2 hits, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. He was incredible on literally the biggest stage in this game. So can Thatcher Herd find some of that in this postseason? I think that's what Jay Johnson is aiming to answer here today, because he knows now he's in the field. He's got nothing to lose. But this is the opportunity where you can say, Thatcher, take the ball. Let's see if you're ready to rock. And if you are, now you got another bullet in the chamber as you approach next weekend with regionals, wherever that regional may be. So for LSU, they take on South Carolina today. It's an awesome opportunity to see what you got with Thatcher Herd, to get out there to play another ball game and see if the Tigers can play on. If they win today, of course, they get the day off on Friday, and then they'll play Saturday when it goes back to single elimination. So LSU today, it's scheduled for 4:30 first pitch. We're keeping an eye on Tennessee and Texas A&M. A&M just homered, so it's a 3-2 Tennessee lead, top 6. A&M has a runner on second, the tying run on second base, and actually strikeout, so they're out of the inning. So they'll head to the 7th now with they'll head bottom 6 now with Tennessee and Texas A&M there in Hoover. Okay, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. I'm going to keep reminding you, I'm fired up for the response so far. Saturday, June 1st, UFC 302. Dustin the Diamond Poirier, Lafayette's own, also a proud Bud Light ambassador, is fighting in the main event at UFC 302. If you want to come hang out with us, we'll be at the Sportsbook at L'Auberge. But 8 lucky winners. We're drawing a week from today. 1 week from today, we're drawing for 8 lucky winners. 8 lucky winners and 2 guests. So each winner gets 2 guests. We'll have free food, all the Bud Light you can drink, and a front row table seat for the big screen at the Sportsbook at L'Auberge for UFC 302. I'll be there. It's open to the public, so y'all come hang out even if you don't win. But if you want to enter, all you got to do is text the show text line. Text the word Diamond, of course, Dustin Poirier's nickname. Text the word Diamond in the 225 to 396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. You can only enter once, so don't feel like you got to text me every day. If you texted the word Diamond once, you're good. You're in, and we'll draw at random a week from today for those 8 spots. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the UFC. Okay, quick break. Our buddy David Cloninger, who covers South Carolina, is going to join us next. We get a thumbnail preview of the Gamecocks, what we can expect today. Doug Thompson is in Hoover now. He'll be with us in about 48 minutes to start hour number 2. Delly will be here. And I do have a lot of LSU football stuff I want to get into today, including an interesting comparison from rivals for Harlem Berry, the LSU commitment for 2025. And I stumbled upon something today that really sent me down this path to do a deep dive into whether or not Brian Kelly's strategy for building a roster is working in the NIL portal culture. I think you'll find it interesting. We're going to get to that in hour number 3. We're glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions, Glow Resources. If you're a business owner and you're stuck in the rat race of hiring, here's something I'd ask you to consider. Over the course of a year, how many people do you interview? How many candidates for a job do you interview? Dozen? 50? 100? At Glow Resources, they interview 50 candidates a day. They conduct more than 15,000 employee interviews over the course of the year. They know the questions to ask. They know how to vet candidates, so they know how to place their employees in the right job for you to make you more efficient. Glow Resources has a 93% retention rate. And if for whatever reason the employee they hired for your job doesn't work out, they will give you a prorated refund or they'll hire a replacement for free. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online. GLO, glowresources.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
We are about an hour and 13 minutes away from the scheduled first pitch between LSU and South Carolina. Tennessee and A&M, it's a 3-2 ball game right now, bottom 6. So we'll that one is moving a little slowly. So unlikely they get started right at 4:30. That's not going to hurt my feelings, though, because I would love extra innings in this game, actually. A 6:01 Central Time first pitch would do me just right. David Cloninger, our friend from the Post and Courier, good enough to join us, does a great job covering South Carolina. How are you, man?
Not bad, Matt. How you doing?
Doing really well. What is South Carolina playing for today?
That's a great question. Really, they came into the tournament, I mean, they were slumping, but the postseason still seemed assured. So the postseason's definitely been clinched. I think now that they're probably playing to just get back potentially on that host line for the NCAA tournament. I don't know if anything short of winning the tournament would actually accomplish that. So I think now, after losing 6 straight in the regular season, they're probably just playing for, let's just play well. Been playing well for a couple of games, let's just keep playing well.
We're going to see Tyler Pitzer on the mound today for South Carolina. What can you tell us about him?
Well, he's mostly been a relief guy. They gave him a couple of tries in the midweek, but mostly the way South Carolina's pitching entirety for this tournament is just kind of being, all right, you go out there and give us what you can. Go out there and give a couple of innings, and then they'll have somebody in there to relieve him. So you hope that maybe somebody can go in there and go 6 or 7 innings. I mean, 2 days ago, South Carolina turned to its closer in the 4th inning,
right,
and he finished the game. So you're just kind of hoping that he'll go out there and give you something. It's not really a defined starter reliever role right now. It's more like, okay, who's the warm body that has not pitched in the tournament or hadn't pitched in a couple of days? So, yeah, he might be able to go 3 or 4 innings. He might just last an inning, but they'll try to piece it together as they go.
You mentioned so Good has thrown, Jones has thrown, Eskew has thrown. After Pitzer today, what is available still for Carolina?
That's a great question, but Matthew Becker would probably be there. He didn't pitch a lot of innings 2 days ago. Of course, Chris Beach is probably still off the table unless it would be just for maybe 1 inning. You look at Eli Jones, he threw yesterday but didn't throw that much. He could be out there. But also you're looking at your relief crew, which you haven't really had to use this week. So Jake McCoy, Parker Marlott, some guys like that who have been getting some innings lately, those are the guys you will most likely see in relief of Pitzer.
David Cloninger is with us on Twitter at DCPNC. What's the general feeling about where the state of this Gamecock program? I'll get back to the game in a second, but the state of the Gamecock program right now?
Well, of course, they're winning in Hoover, which has never been the case. And, of course, this can all end rather quickly, but right now it's pretty good. The end of the season was not good, and it questioned a lot of people about where this program is going in year 7 of the Mark Kingston tenure. There's a lot of questions about his job status, which were started in the offseason when they restructured the contract the way it did. So it's good that they got themselves back on stable ground for the postseason, but there's a long way to go. They're going to be playing next week, and that's great. That's where this program should always be. There's no excuse to not play in the postseason, but they're also going to have to do something once they get in there, as in they really need to be playing 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. A couple more minutes here with David Cloninger's LSU in South Carolina, just about an hour away from scheduled first pitch. I know the lineup's posted already today for Carolina. Just as you glance at it, give an LSU fan the perspective of what we should be keeping in mind. I think everybody remembers Ethan Petrie from a year ago in that series in Columbia. But outside of Petrie and the 2-hole, what else should we be aware of in the lineup today?
Well, right now, again, South Carolina's never been known for playing well in Hoover, but this time they brought their bats, and they're smacking some home runs. That third hitter, Cole Messina, is having just a lights-out tournament. I think he's hit 4 homers in 2 games, at least 3 homers, and they had a couple of doubles. So he's the guy that you got to try to stay away from. The problem is that the way that lineup is stacked right now with Petrie in front of him, Brenling, a really good contact guy on leadoff, and then you have Dalton Reeves, who hit a grand slam 2 days ago. You got Parker Nolan, who's starting to hit the ball, and Kennedy Jones, who's a contact hitter. There's not really an easy out in the top of that lineup. So that being said, Ethan Petrie struck out 4 times yesterday. So he's flashing real hot and cold. Right now, I think if you're the LSU pitcher, it's like, all right, just don't pitch to number 19, Messina. The rest, take your chances with.
How do you expect this game to go today?
LSU's playing hot. They've been playing real hot for the past couple of weeks, and just as history is a guide, LSU likes to go down to Hoover and prove a point that they're the kings of this conference, that they know how to take it home. So they're charging. I don't know if they could get a host spot, but it would certainly improve their standing as a number 2 seed if they won this thing. So knowing South Carolina's pitching right now, I'm thinking LSU will probably pull this one out today.
It'll be interesting to see how LSU's pitching looks with Thatcher Herd going. He'll get the ball for the first time in a potential extended role for the first time in a long time. So it's always interesting once you get deeper into the tournament, right, to see how the pitching all shakes up. What is for this Carolina team when things aren't going well? What is the Achilles heel?
I wish I could put it on one thing, and really just in general, I'd say the defense. About a month ago, Mark Kingston switched his lineup, choosing more offense instead of defense, and that's put a lot of guys in spots where they're not the best. So some ground balls get by them, where maybe they wouldn't get by another defensive lineup. So especially the way this part plays, yesterday there was a bad error out in right field that could have cost them the game. So I would say in an overall sense, just the defense, but in the minute sense, USC's got a bad problem of compounding mistakes. They're like, oh, you walked the guy? No big deal. Just don't mess up the next one. Oh, you hit him. Oh, okay, well, don't do that again. And then, oh, there's a tailor-made ground ball, and you just threw it in the center field. Oh, okay. So they tend to get in, have one little mistake, just kind of throw them off the rhythm.
LSU and South Carolina, two teams that didn't play in the regular season. It'll be a third game in as many days for LSU against a team they didn't play in the regular season. So we'll get to know the Gamecocks here shortly. David Cloninger, he's on Twitter at DCP&C. Y'all give him a follow. Does a great job covering South Carolina. Always appreciate the time, man. Thank you.
No problem, Matt. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Be well. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Michelli.com. 76 years and counting. Michelli Weighing and Measurement. If you want to go check out a list of all the services, highly recommend that you go check it out at Michelli.com. The website is such a great resource, a great tool to learn about all the things that they offer. And as a matter of fact, they've now introduced the Pioneer Scale. If you go to the homepage of the website at Michelli.com, you'll see it right there, the Pioneer Scale on the bottom of the homepage, and you get all the info. Pioneer Scale has joined the Michelli Weighing and Measurement team in 12 different states across 30 different offices across 12 different states. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com, a new acquisition as Michelli just continues to grow, our nation's largest distributor of scales. But, of course, as we always say, if you need your devices calibrated, Michelli can help with those precision measurement devices. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Okay, appreciate David Cloninger for jumping aboard with us there. It's kind of a familiar conversation that we had about Kentucky, a team that when they're hot, they hit the ball really well. The bugaboo has been on the mound, but Kentucky's a team that won 22 league games and managed to do that despite not having great performances or a dominant ace on the mound. You could probably say the same thing about Carolina a bit. It would be interesting to see if Carolina. I don't know. I don't know how. Even if Carolina won this thing, I don't know how we could look at a team that was 13-17 in the conference as a regional host. I think that's off the table for all the teams that went in there at 13-17. I mean, I think you're going to get 5 host sites. You're going to get 5 national seeds. I think that's how this is going to go for the SEC. Maybe there's something screwy happens and you end up with 4 national seeds. But I just feel like for LSU and Carolina today, they're playing for the same thing. I think both are in the field, and I think you're playing right now for seeding and positioning to see how that may all play out. So LSU and South Carolina today from the Hoover Met. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here on a Thursday edition of AFR. We will go to the Hoover Met in about 30 minutes. Our buddy Doug Thompson just landed. I texted with him earlier today. Just landed today in Hoover, so he'll be on the call with Chris Blair there at the Hoover Met for LSU and South Carolina, and I would presume for as long as LSU remains in the tournament, be it tomorrow, Saturday, or through Sunday. So Doug will join us a little more than 30 minutes from right now. We'll come back. We'll go around the SEC. I know a lot of you asked yesterday my thoughts on the Saints Superdome conflict that's going on right now. Apparently the Saints have some outstanding debts they haven't paid. And just to be very candid with you, I didn't know enough yesterday about it. I hadn't actually... By the time it broke and we were close to air, I just didn't know enough to comment. So took some time, looked at it, and I'll give you some thoughts on that as well when we come back. Glad to have you aboard with us here on a Thursday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
You know, when you drive around Baton Rouge, in the greater Baton Rouge area, it's hard to go anywhere without seeing one of the big yellow vans from River City's 1 Hour Air. You know what I'm talking about, the big yellow vans with the giant clock on the side. You see them all over. Their fleet is enormous because so many of your friends and neighbors trust River City's 1 Hour Air the same way that I do. Eric and I have used River City's 1 Hour Air since we've been married. We're part of the membership club that I always encourage you to join. You know, whenever a technician comes to your house, they're going to explain it to you, but at its most basic level, just being a part of that membership club pays for your seasonal maintenance, the heater safety check and the AC tune-up that I always tell you about. Those are complimentary services when you're a member, so that pays for that. And then you get member pricing, front of the line service, all that stuff. Highly recommend. Listen, if you have a problem with your AC this summer, you need the best. You need River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Simone deserves this. We deserve it. Our state, our sport deserves it. And this is her school. This is where she grew up. You guys covered the statue unveiling. Well, that was crazy, the crowd. And those people, a lot of them, that's the first time they've probably seen Simone since she left LSU. And now you will bring that crowd back to LSU because of their love for Simone and her family.
Kim Mulkey as the greatest women's basketball player in LSU history. Simone Augustus was introduced today as a new member of Kim Mulkey's staff out at LSU. There's a great video up on LSU Gold if you haven't seen it. They've got it linked on the LSU women's basketball social media accounts. But it's really some cool video from Simone's days at Capitol when she was on Sports Illustrated for Women. The cover went to ask, is she the next Michael Jordan? Really, really cool feature if you haven't seen it yet. I'm fired up for it, man. We talked about it the other day, and Coach Mulkey was kind enough to come on the show with us the day that it was announced that Simone was joining the staff. But today was the day that they introduced Simone. And here was Simone explaining why she ultimately decided to come home and join the LSU women's basketball staff.
Why not? I mean, it's home. I've been away for over 20 years, obviously just coming in and out whenever I had time, you know, throughout the seasons or whatever breaks that I had. But it was mostly about the opportunity. Like, coaching has continued to come back to me over time. I coached 2 years with the Sparks, and it was in more of an observation role. Like, I'm just kind of learning and growing, but not necessarily knowing if this was something that I wanted to do. You know, I had 2 other opportunities with another sports league, Athletes Unlimited. That was more players-driven league, but you're coaching, not coaching. And I just remember having some conversations with some respected people in the coaching world. And I'm like, I think I want to do it, but I want to take some classes. Or, you know, you kind of want to feel your way into it. And they was like, the only way to do it is to do it.
Simone Augustus, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, she's done everything, right? I mean, she's in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. She's going into the Naismith Hall of Fame. She's an MVP. She's a WNBA champion. She led LSU to 4, she was here 4 years, 4 Final Fours. Of course, they went to 5 consecutive Final Fours. She's got a statue. Her jersey's retired. She's literally the greatest player ever. I mean, we talked about it. It was like when Steve Spurrier went home to coach Florida, that sort of thing. There's tons of examples of athletes that went back to their alma mater to coach, but rarely, if ever. I mean, the only example I could ever think of was like Magic Johnson coaching the Lakers. When you're talking about and he's arguably the best ever. He's one of them. But Simone, there is no argument. She is the greatest basketball player in the history of this program. She was the one who, I hesitate to say built the program, but she's the reason the program got to heights that it had never reached before until she got here. So yes, everything about this is just a giant win. And one more from Simone. She was asked, you know, what she's hoping to get out of this being on Kim Mulkey's staff.
The opportunity to grow as a coach, my first conversation with him, I was like, you know, I'm trying to figure out my voice. If you know me, I don't talk loud. I talk softly. I don't talk often. And so that's something that I always thought about when I thought about coaching. I'm like, you know, how is that going to sound? What does this feel like? Who is Coach Money? It's an identity thing for myself and many other coaches. Everyone has had to find their way. And so I think this presents a great opportunity for me to do that alongside of a legendary coach that has been around for 20 plus years.
Man, congrats to Simone Augustus. I mean, and then there's obviously the on-field or on-court part of this as well, which is like she's going to be coaching the guards. I mean, yeah, sure. Simone Augustus can teach guards how to play basketball. I'm for it. So, and we'll see if coaching ends up being a long-term thing for her. But man, nothing else. Just the cachet of having Simone Augustus on your bench alone is incredible. And then to be able to tap into her knowledge base and for her to learn from Kim Mulkey, love it on every level. So congrats to Simone Augustus and certainly welcome home. Okay, it's After Further Review brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. Y'all, we're here. Hunt just scooted out of studio before I came in. His family's heading up to go see his family up in Shreveport, so they got a 4-hour ride ahead of them. I know a lot of you are going to be on the road this weekend for Memorial Day weekend. Keep reminding you to make sure you pause and remember why we recognize Memorial Day weekend. But the reality is a lot of people do travel on this weekend. And if that's you, Shawbills, if you need anything with your vehicle, they can help you out. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. Always tell you get to the website, shawbillstire.com. You can shop tires. You could schedule service. You could chat with a technician there. Or an associate. All you have to do is go to the website, shawbillstire.com, shawbillstire.com. And when you do that, there's a little chat bubble bottom right. When you tap that, you hit the location nearest you, and boom, in seconds, you're texting with an associate there at Shawbills to get whatever question answered that you need. It's Shawbills. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Florida Gators.
Florida defensive lineman Mekhi Boyrow has been arrested on charges of fleeing deputies, causing serious injury with a vehicle. Spent 2 nights in jail over the weekend, as a matter of fact. He's getting ready for his freshman season with the Gators, released on $60,000 bond. He was clocked at 86 miles an hour on I-75 Saturday night. When the officer turned his lights on, Boyrow sped up to 150 miles an hour. Dangerous situation all around. He did go through spring drills after arriving on campus as a 3-star recruit, but we'll see what discipline may come from the Gators.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss Jr. now among the highest paid coordinators in football. He inked a new contract after the 23 season. It makes him the highest paid offensive coordinator in the SEC. 3-year contract will pay him $1.65 million in 2024 with escalators all the way up to $1.85 million. Only 4 offensive coordinators in the country make more than Weiss. Mike Denbrock, Chip Kelly, Andy Ludwig, and Garrett Riley.
The Missouri Tigers.
South Alabama linebacker transfer Khalil Jacobs has committed to Missouri. Hayes Fawcett broke the news because Hayes Fawcett breaks all the recruiting news. It's amazing. I need to get Hayes Fawcett back on the show as a random aside. 6'2", 220-pound linebacker. Chose Mizzou over Ole Miss, Auburn, Alabama, others. He'll have 2 years of eligibility remaining.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
And Tennessee picked up a commit from 2025 interior offensive lineman Antoni Cade Ugamoro. 3-star offensive lineman, 6'5", 290. Chose the Vols over K-State, UNC, Missouri, Okie State, and Oklahoma. He's the number 25 interior offensive lineman in the country. Okay, there you have it. That is around the SEC. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. I'll do this quickly. There was a report from the Times Pick that the Saints are $11.5 million behind on payments for Superdome upgrades. So, as you probably know, the Superdome, they're undergoing upgrades that are expected to be ready for this season, and of course the Super Bowl, which will be in New Orleans in February. So it was a joint sort of financial effort here between the Saints and the city. I should say it's the state, the Louisiana Stadium. I always screw up the acronym. Forgive me, and I'm looking for it here, and I don't see it. Louisiana Stadium and Exposition District. That's it. The LSED. Anyway, a $58 million project. The Saints were covering $41 million of the upgrades, and the LSED, the state, was going to cover $17 million of the upgrades. Well, the Saints, apparently, according to the article at the Times Pick, are about $11.5 million behind on the payments. A part of the article kind of hints at the fact that the Saints may be having cash flow issues, or Mrs. Benson has cash flow issues, which is why they're behind. The Saints have released a statement that tells a dramatically different story. And I don't know who to believe. The Saints do note in their statement they continue to be great partners with the LSED and the state of Louisiana. They're proud of their $200 million commitment they've made to the renovation of the Dome to make it one of the best, most iconic stadiums in the world. And they note, quote, I'm reading from the statement, we have no issue with making the current payment of $11.5 million, or for that matter, the remaining balance. We have, however, asked for certain documentation over an extended period, and we have not received that documentation. Prior to our last payment in December, we requested the documentation, but in good faith continued to fund. We've been waiting and requesting that documentation since that date. Most recently, expected it before today's LSED meeting. Yet another timeline has slipped with no explanation or communication of any time. So the Saints are saying, oh, we got the money, but we're requesting documentation on this whole thing, and the LSED won't tell us whatever documentation they need. The progress of the a progress report or anything, I don't know. The one thing that I would confidently say today, and again, not knowing anything more than what the two sides have said here, the one thing that is undeniable is that Gail Benson has cash. Like, I haven't seen her bank statements, don't need to. What I do know is that the Saints go through this process every year of restructuring deals, which we talk about, and this dates all the way to Tom Benson when he was the owner of the franchise before he passed, and this was their methodology. And remember, the only way you can do that is if you are liquid. Like, the way those contract restructures work is you convert salary into a signing bonus and then spread the cap hit over multiple years. The only way you can do that is if your ownership is willing to pay cash up front. You say, hey, instead of getting your payments, think of it almost like the lump sum when you win the lottery as opposed to an annuity. You get the big amount, boom, right now. Here's where you're going to get all your money, but let me give you $45 million today as a signing bonus with $1 million cap hit, so that way we can take the signing bonus and spread it out over 5 years against the salary cap. That's how the Saints do business. Well, the only way you can do that is if you're liquid, if you have money. So yes, when the Saints in their statement say we have no problem making the $11.5 million or the remaining balance, I don't doubt that at all. I believe very much that the Saints are a very healthy, cash-rich, liquid organization because they continue to show it not through their words, but through their actions year after year after year. So the Saints want certain documentation. Give them the damn documents and get on with this, because the bottom line is, y'all, the Super Bowl is here in February. You don't really have time to drag your feet and potentially put any delays on this project. The largest event in our country annually, and one of the largest annual events in the world, is going to be in New Orleans in 9 months. Kiss and make up, make nice, and get this thing done. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out our final break here of hour number 1. When we come back, I didn't really mean to go back-to-back here with NFL stories, but there's one NFL owner that's pushing back against an expanded regular season schedule, and I have a thought on that we'll get to. Doug Thompson in 15 minutes. Let's see, they are bottom 7 now in Hoover, and Tennessee's blown the thing open. It's 6-2 Vols. Actually, they're now headed to the 8th, so heading to the top of the 8th with Tennessee leading A&M. I shouldn't say blow it open, but they've got a comfortable lead. They put up a 3 spot here in the 7th. So 6-2 Tennessee leading Texas A&M. We'll keep you posted as soon as that game goes final. LSU and South Carolina start 30 minutes after the conclusion of this game. So we'll let you know when that happens. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. 2 amazing hotel properties. Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown. Of course, the Watermark is, I tell you every day, Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. Part of the Autograph collection there with Marriott. It's a one of one. They took the old Louisiana National Bank building, Baton Rouge's original high-rise, and converted it into a hotel, maintaining so much of the architecture in their original space while blending it with modern amenities. It is gorgeous. If you've never been to the Watermark, even just to have dinner at the Gregory or to walk into the lobby bar and have a cocktail or a glass of wine after work if you're downtown. And remember, if you go eat at the Gregory at the Watermark Hotel, it's complimentary valet parking. So if you're worried about going down now because you want to park, you don't have to worry about that at all. Just pull up to the door, complimentary valet parking when you're eating at the Gregory at the Watermark Hotel. It's downtown Baton Rouge. The Watermark Hotel, and of course, the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet. Check them out. 2 amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, Our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
LSU lineup is posted. We'll get to that here in just a quick second. Doug Thompson, 11 minutes from right now. Jerry Seinfeld gave an interview to Howard Stern about a decade ago, and he said something in that interview that I've always remembered. It really resonated with me. And I was reminded of it today because of comments the New York Giants owner John Mara made about the NFL possibly expanding to an 18-game schedule. This was Jerry Seinfeld on the Howard Stern show about 10 years ago, talking about how he passed on more than $100 million to do another season of Seinfeld back in 1999 after the series ended. And he explained why he passed, even on a 9-figure deal for 1 year, why he passed on it then.
The love affair between the people that were making the show and the audience was so intense. It was so white hot. I had to respect that. And I could not go to that point where it starts to age and wither. And it can only be, and it doesn't take long. For example, you go see a comedian at an hour and 10 minutes, you love the guy. At an hour and 30, it's like,
right.
I thought he was never going to finish. And all of it, you walk out with a whole different feeling. It's a small amount of too much cake, too much anything,
but do you think
and changes the whole feeling about. So we had this wonderful, intense love affair.
A small amount of too much changes the whole thing. That's my one concern with the NFL continuing to expand the schedule. The American public has a passionate love affair with football. Every year in our country, the most watched series is Sunday Night Football. The only thing we all collectively, religiously watch is the NFL. The single biggest television event in our country every year is the Super Bowl. We have as he described, like a rampant love affair with football. No matter how much we complain about anything, as significant or insignificant as it may be in real life, from the Kaepernick controversy to the rule changes about contact and everything that you may claim to hate about the NFL, we all come back because we have an absolute obsession with that league collectively as a people. But at what point is a little bit of too much too much? So John Mara said, quote, I worry more about player fatigue and wear and tear on the players moving forward. That's one of the reasons why we have to have the discussion with the players union. Even Roger Goodell talked about the possibility of quality of play and safety being big concerns about expanding. But ultimately, does the dollar outweigh all of that? Because the bottom line is, if you add another NFL regular season game, that's more TV inventory. And we see these billion-dollar annual television deals. And so if you add another game to the schedule, that's another week of NFL content to sell to these networks that are gobbling it up at astronomical rates. And everybody gets richer. The owners, the players, everybody. It takes a different kind of person to do what Jerry Seinfeld did, would say, you know what, I'm going to pass on $100 million for one more year of work because I don't want to leave my audience with a bad taste. And for that, it's, there's an everlong love of that show. Who knows how it would have gone if they did another season? Who knows how it might go if they go 18 games? It's just worth putting out there to say, it's a very measured approach by John Mara to say, are we giving them just too much? Even a little bit of too much changes the whole experience. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. They do it all over at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Oh, by the way, indoor shutters as well. I tell you all the time, if you're just shopping price, don't call Relief Windows. They're never going to be the cheapest, but they will always be the best. The best quality, the best service. They actually have a service department. I'm not talking about the same MeasureTech installers. They have a total separate, if you're going to call it, ask other people if they have a service department. Not the same MeasureTech that came out, like a dedicated department only for servicing their clients when they have issues. That's how they're able to make sure you are thrilled every single time. It's Relief Windows. Windows door siding. Oh, yeah, they do indoor shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, lineup is posted for Muse. You have it in front of you? If you have it in front of you, run through it, please.
All right, sure. Only one change. So Michael Braswell will lead off and play short. Tommy White is behind him at third. Jared Jones at first, hitting third. Pearson, Travinsky, Milam make up the middle of your lineup, 4, 5, and 6. The change is Jake Brown in the 7-hole playing center field. Ashton Larson will hit 9th and be in right, and Alex Milazzo is your catcher, batting 9th.
Well, you said Larson was 9th. Larson's 8th?
Sorry, yeah, Larson's 8th.
8th, Milazzo 9th. So Brown goes in to get another left-handed bat in the lineup?
That's what it looks like. You are facing a right-handed pitcher. That makes 3 lefties in the lineup as well.
We talked to David Cloninger earlier today about Tyler Pitzer, who's getting the ball for South Carolina. His line on the season, 4.66 ERA, 38 2/3 innings pitched. He's got a pretty healthy strikeout number, 53 strikeouts in 38 2/3 innings. The problem is the walks. At 20 walks in 38 2/3 innings. So if he gets it over the plate, crush it. But also when we talked to David, it seemed like it could be an inning, it could be 2 innings. So you set your lineup based on facing a righty, but we'll see what else South Carolina has in the bullpen to come out. But Jake Brown in the lineup to get another left-handed bat, which we've seen Jay do that. We've seen that with my brain just went poo-poo. Brady Neal. Why did my brain just go poo-poo? I got 2 seconds. Sports Center next.
AFR.
AFR. You know what? I need a sip of Evermore. My Evermore bottle's empty. I need to go get another bottle of Evermore. Look, it's falling apart on me,
This is not going well, Scone.
It's falling apart on me.
Bad.
Look, it's empty.
Pets' heads are falling off.
Our pets' heads are falling off. Evermore. Evermore.com. Evermore.com is where you can go order your Evermore. Why did Brady need... It was like the Simeon Barrow thing last week. The kid from Michigan State. Like, I just could not pull the name. It's like, why could I not pull the name in that moment? Anyway, I need to drink more Evermore. EVAMOR, Evermore.com, Evermore.com to order Evermore, or you could buy it at great local retailers. Evermore is natural artesian water, and it's a Louisiana product. It's a better product than the other bottled water that you're going to buy, and it's a Louisiana product. So support a great Louisiana business. It's Evermore. Pick up Evermore at great local retailers.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light?
Oh, shoot, I forgot to play the song. I got a guy who can fix this.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Celtics are 9-2 so far in the playoffs. The 2 losses both came in Game 2. Boston will host Game 2 tonight against the Pacers. ESPN's Kendrick Perkins is still wondering how the Celtics won Game 1.
I think they gave the series away because I just don't know that you recover even emotionally from something like that. The team made all kinds of mistakes. They turned it over 21, 22 times. Rick Carlisle said, put it on me. There's a bushel full of mistakes.
Michael Wilbon on PTI. Game 2 coverage tonight. The Celtics and Pacers tipping off just after 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio and TV. The Louisville police detective who arrested Scotty Scheffler last week, Brian Gillis, is being disciplined for not activating his body camera during the arrest. Scheffler faces multiple charges and will be arraigned on June 3rd. Baseball finals today. The Phillies sweep the Rangers 5-2, 6 wins in a row for Philadelphia. The Padres beat the Reds 6-4 in 10.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ Chris Candy coming on Friday. Anthony Edwards and my Wolves drop Game 1. I'll tell you why I'm not worried about them just yet. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Jacob Beck. Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. Oh. Oh. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Delly's here in 15 minutes from right now. A&M had 2 runners on, run in, 2 on in a 6-3 ball game there in the bottom of the 8th with an opportunity, one swing to tie it, and couldn't get it done. So Tennessee escapes the jam. I am actively rooting here for extra innings. I would love for this game to be delayed maybe an hour or so, such that LSU and South Carolina would start 6:01 Central Time. That's kind of what I'm pulling for here as soon as we go off the air. Our buddy Doug Thompson is there in Hoover. He'll be on the call on the LSU Sports Radio Network. Duggar, how are you, man?
Coach, are you really going to wish a delayed start on me right out the chute here?
Yes. I am selfish. And you know what? You're there. You're there enjoying baseball no matter what. I am trying to do a show and maintain my audience. and I would rather not go head up on an LSU baseball game.
Well, hopefully Nolan Kane can find a way to get him 3 runs at the top of the ninth, and maybe your wish will come true.
Come on, Big Daddy. We need it. Hey, set the scene for us there, Duggar, at the Hoover Met.
Oh, man, I'm down here the right field corner by the SEC booth. Got Todd Walker and DeLucci right over my right field shoulder watching this game. They're in the top of the or the bottom of the 8th inning. About 6,500 people here. It's overcast, kind of muggy. Just looks like a typical day at the SEC tournament.
Love it, man. A lot of purple and gold?
Not yet. Lots of orange right now. You don't see a lot of purple and gold, but there are a lot of purple and gold out by all the, the RVs, of course, throughout the parking lot. There's purple and gold everywhere. So I'm sure there'll be plenty in here by about 4:30.
Duggar, what's it like? You played in that stadium. You played in this event. What's it like pitching at the Hoover Met and playing in this event?
Actually, I played at this event the first year they had it here, and I actually pitched here in the minor leagues as well. And it's a fun place to pitch because it's cavernous, especially in the gaps and out to center field. Although I've seen some pretty massive home runs hit here. I've actually given up some pretty great home runs here as well. But that's what I remember. You can trust your stuff and go right at them because it's such a big ballpark. It's a beautiful place. It's older. They've done some work to the outside of the stadium. But dude, Michael Jordan played here, so it's historic to some degree, and it's just a really cool place. And look, I mean, it'll stay here forever now because you can tell the city's totally committed. Everywhere you go, the light poles, the SEC logos everywhere. At the airport, the SEC logos everywhere. So the city has really adopted this as really their main event throughout the course of the year. And they're doing it better and better every year. Yeah, the renovations they put into that. I know that several years ago there was talk about potentially taking the show on the road and moving it around a bit. There were other bids. And there's some beautiful minor league parks all over. Memphis has a beautiful park. I know they bid on it. But it's centric, and it's something that's sort of synonymous with the SEC. So it looks like it's there to stay. Hey, speaking of pitchers in the cavernous park, Thatcher Herd's going to get the ball today. And, Duggar, we just haven't seen a lot of Herd. Since the Florida weekend, he had only pitched an inning and a third in SEC play until he went an inning and 2/3 against Ole Miss in that final weekend. Thoughts on the decision to give Herd the ball? Well, you have to after the way he pitched. I think Tennessee just hit another home run.
Well, you're a little ahead of the TV broadcast, but good to know.
Home run. Yeah, 7-3. Thatcher Herd. Last year he scuffled a little bit at the beginning of the year too. I think it was the Georgia series on the road. That he came in relief in a big game, and from then on kind of never looked back and ended up being that guy that we saw in Omaha. Well, I saw that guy against Ole Miss on Sunday, and I think because of the way he went out there and pitched, I think that kind of earned him this start because if the same kind of magic can happen for Thatcher Herd right now, then, man, that is a huge, huge boost, obviously, for LSU going into a regional, probably on the road somewhere.
You've gotten to know Jay well enough. The one thing that was a little surprising for me, Duggar, is we know they've gone Jump, Holman, and then whatever combination McInhouse and Dutton as their day 3. So they're obviously pivoting here. Why do you think Jay made the decision to pivot at this point?
Again, because of the way Thatcher Herd threw the ball against Ole Miss. I mean, it was electric. I noticed that Bleacher Report just came out with another mock draft, and Thatcher Herd is actually still in the first round in their mock draft, and that was on May 22nd, so very recently. And look, I mean, I really do think that it all hinges on the way he threw the ball against Ole Miss. I mean, it was 95, 96. He had command of his slider and his curveball. He was really untouchable. I mean, he was as good, like I said, he was as good as he was in Omaha last year. So I think when Jay saw that, he wanted to see if there may be something there, and maybe we'll see that. I think they're trying to get 2 or 3 out of Herd to start this one off.
That was going to be my next question. If he, let's say he gets you 6 up, 6 down, gets you through 2 innings easy, do you think they extend him?
100%, yeah. I think if he goes out there like he did against Ole Miss with that type of stuff, and he's dominating the game. I mean, I think he could get even into the 4th inning, but yeah, I think that's it. I think they're looking for a guy that could possibly start an emergency game in a regional, and Thatcher Herd showed some signs of life in that old Thatcher Herd again that Sunday game against Ole Miss, and I think they're trying to capitalize on that. I think keep saying Sunday, I mean Saturday.
Sure. The game 3, sure. By the way, it is worth mentioning, Duggar, Herd did pitch against South Carolina in the SEC tournament last year. And I just went and looked up the line. He went 5 1/3, allowed 3 runs on 4 hits, struck out 4, walked 2. So he got you into the 6th last year against this team in this lineup in this venue. So maybe Jay looking to strike lightning twice there with Thatcher Herd at the SEC tournament. Duggar, one other lineup change today. Jake Brown is going to get the start in center over Mac Bingham. Very likely trying to get another left-handed bat in the lineup against the right-handed starter. What do you think of the decision to start the freshman today?
I think that's what it has a lot to do with that, Matt. I think this starter, lefties are hitting 305 against him. So I think it has a lot to do with that left-handed bat. But also, I mean, Bingham hasn't really produced the way that I know Jay Johnson would like him to. So perhaps this is just another look at Jake Brown before we start some games that really mean something. But today, I think primarily I would guess the major reason for the decision is because lefties are hitting above 300 off today's starter for South Carolina.
That's a great number. If I could tap into the player perspective of this from you, Doug, I know every time you go out, you want to win the game. I mean, it's the competitor. But at the same time, I look at LSU, and you've accomplished what you set out to in Hoover, which is guarantee you're playing baseball next week, and they've done that with their 2 wins. So how do you, as a player, approach today or tomorrow, Saturday, the rest of the weekend?
The same way you would any game. I mean, that's the only way. You have to play to win every game. You can't turn it on and off. And I think even Tommy White might have said that last night. Their mentality the rest of the year is every game is a must-win game. And they're going game by game. So I think LSU is in the mindset they were when they got here. They want to win as many games as possible. Because if LSU ends up coming away winning this thing, who knows? We might have to turn the lights on back at the box.
I think that's – I don't know that that's even in play, Duggar. It would be wonderful.
Hey, don't you go raining on my parade. I can dream.
I'm not trying to rain on your parade. I am trying to be, at least temperate and realistic here. But look, there's every win you increase your lot and you better your draw. So
for sure,
that's undeniable. I want to ask you the same question though, Duggar, from the coach's perspective, because yes, players are going to go play to win the game. They're going to go all out, but coaches have to think about next weekend and potentially beyond, right? So how does Jay Johnson manage that?
Yeah, I think it stops when you overextend pitchers. Like, you're not going to overextend anybody. Like, you're not going to try to get Herd into the 6th inning today, or you're not going to try to get Ackenhausen to go out there for 4 just because he struck out the side in the first 2 innings he pitched. So I think that's kind of where the win at all costs, where you may keep that guy in a regional or, again, a game that means something, so to speak. But I think here, that's where it ends for a coach in terms of trying to win the game, where even if you have a guy out there who's dealing, you're not going to let him get past a certain amount of pitches because of what you just said. You got some big games to play next week.
Doug Thompson's with us here for a couple more minutes. Doug, I would love your perspective, big picture here. LSU's won 5 in a row now. They sweep Ole Miss. They won their first 2 games in Hoover. They're obviously playing better. But in what material ways can you see? I mean, you watch this team as much as anybody on the call. In what material ways can you see the changes? Like, where are they materially better now than they were even a month ago?
Well, I think that we're seeing some of the same guys in the lineup more often. I think some of those guys know that now they have a spot, like, for example, Josh Pearson. I think that makes it easier to play. I always say this at the end of the year, school's ended. So now the pressure and stress of getting the paper in or studying for the final or whatever, that's all finished. And that obviously is great for all kids, all college players. But right now, I really do think we're seeing a more consistent lineup with the same guys. And I think that we're starting to see some of the same arms out of the pen rather than it was really kind of an open-ended tryout. It felt like for me, for most of the season, in terms of who's going to be the guys out of the pen that actually step up. So now you've got guys like Christian Little and Ulloa and some others that have gone out there and had some lights-out appearances. And I think that's what those 2 things have lended to more consistent play. Guys being in more consistent spots in the lineup, and then using less arms, the ones that are getting the most outs.
Tennessee batting bottom 8. They lead A&M 7-3. Nobody out, 2 on. So maybe I'm getting my wish here. Not necessarily, Duggar, in an extra inning game, but a game that's extending a smidge longer. But whenever this game ends, Doug Thompson and Chris Blair will be on the radio there on the LSU Sports Radio Network. Duggar, we appreciate it, man. Have a great call. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me, Matt. Y'all have a good one.
All right, be well. Y'all follow Doug on Twitter at DT9Tigers, DT, the number 9 Tigers. If you want to follow Doug on Twitter, Doug and Chris will be in the booth. And again, you can hear the game on our sister station, Eagle 98.1, the flagship of the LSU Sports Radio Network. It's After Further Review, brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Not too late, y'all. I know there's still some high school graduations that are going on this weekend. LSU's graduation was last weekend. If you want to get a gift for that graduate in your life, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry has tons of gifts, priced right, affordable gifts for the graduate in your family. So go to Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. When you scroll down on the homepage, you'll see right there the graduation gift guide. When you scroll down on the homepage, you'll see the graduation gift guide. You tap the little icon right there, and you'll see so many tremendous gifts. If it's pendants and watches and writing utensils, writing instruments, rings, so many great gifts, affordable for any budget. You can check it out at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. 9 locations in all. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, we appreciate the Duggar for joining us here. We're going to knock out a break, come back. Ross Dellinger is going to be here. Excited to have Delly with us. He, if you haven't been following, we talked about it a smidge yesterday. The NCAA, the House against the NCAA, the case going on right now, where all of the conferences are voting to settle this case, and it's going to open a door for a restructuring of how student athletes are compensated. So Delly's been all over this. He's going to join us next. We're looking forward to that. I got a ton of LSU talk as well in the remainder, LSU football talk the remainder of the show. So glad you're with us here. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Hey, y'all, this weekend, of course, is Memorial Day weekend, and we always stop and pause to honor and remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice so we can enjoy the freedoms that we did. That's why we celebrate on Memorial Day weekend. And if you're going to be getting together, I know our family has our Moscona family crawfish boil at my Uncle Mike's house every single year on Memorial Day weekend. And we just encourage you, man, if you're going to be getting together and celebrating life in our awesome country and the brave women and men that died for our freedoms, make sure you make Rouse's part of your weekend. Great local company that's been rooted in our community for 100 years, helping you make groceries for more than 60 years. 70 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama. You want crawfish, they got them live and boiled at Rouse's. You need all your beverages, both the adult beverages and beverages for beverages for any age. They got them over at Rouse's. And, of course, all the fixings and trimmings. It's at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Live After 5 is back this spring. Clock out and rock out with us Fridays from April 12th through May 24th in downtown Baton Rouge for the free concert series, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Join us for another season filled with incredible music, delicious food, talented artists, and a lively second line parade. This Friday, come out to see the Michael Foster Project for Live After 5.
I got really excited about Harlem Berry a couple of weeks ago when Ryan Clark was here. RC coached Harlem Berry and Bryce Underwood in the 7-on-7 tournament down in Florida about a month ago, and he raved about Harlem Berry. So I was super interested when I saw this piece at Rivals, and it was I'm trying to get you the author's name. Excuse me. It was Marshall Levinson, who's a national recruiting analyst for Rivals, and he put together comparisons for some of the top players in the country for 2025. He basically gave their NFL comp. And for Harlem Berry, I'm not going to bury the lead here. For Harlem Berry, he comped him to Christian McCaffrey, which is super high praise. But here's the write-up. Finding an accurate comparison for Berry is an interesting challenge. Looking at the NFL, the answer for most dynamic running back is McCaffrey. In the high school ranks, Berry is the answer for most dynamic running back. He goes on to say, while the 49ers star playmaker is a bit heavier, the skill set follows along the same lines. He talks about the elusiveness being undeniable, notes that McCaffrey is known as an elite receiving threat, as Berry has proven his worth in that department in the 7-on-7 scene. Again, more on that in just a second. And he notes McCaffrey has the ability to take over a game from the running back position, not an easy task in such a passing-driven era. Berry's skill set and athletic profile make me believe he can have a similar style at the next level. So, if you're an LSU fan and you have a recruiting analyst comping Harlem Berry to Christian McCaffrey, you're pretty jacked about that. And when you look at their high school profile side by side, and they have this embedded in there, Harlem Berry, the number 17 overall player in the country, McCaffrey was 77. But Berry's the number 2 running back in the country, this is according to Rivals. McCaffrey was the number 3 running back in the country. And their rating is similar. Now, Berry's a 5-star, McCaffrey's a 4-star, but the rating of a 6.1 for Berry, a 5.9 for McCaffrey. So similar, very comparable there. But this was the thing that really stood out in my mind. When I started to think about back to McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey's college career at Stanford. And many of you, I'm assuming, are old enough to remember McCaffrey in college a decade ago, and you remember his career. The thing about McCaffrey that made him so dynamic in college was that he wasn't just a great runner, but he was a great runner and a great pass catcher. And he returned kicks, and he returned punts. He did it all. And every time he had the ball in his hand, you held your breath. I mean, it was very reminiscent of Reggie Bush. I'm not saying he was Reggie Bush, but if you follow kind of a decade apart, Bush was that 03-04 timeframe, 3-4-5. McCaffrey was a decade later in like 14, 15, 16. And maybe Harlem Berry could be the next in that mold. They don't come along very often. Like, it's fair to say there's about one of those a decade. And, you know, I went back and looked at McCaffrey. Like, as a freshman, he had 300 rush yards, 251 receiving yards. He returned 5 kicks and 9 punts. The 2015 season, when he and Fournette were both sophomores in that year, ran for 2,019 yards as a sophomore. Ran for 2,000 yards. Had 645 receiving yards. Returned 37 kicks and 15 punts. And then a year later as a junior, his draft year, he only played in 11 games. Remember, he opted out of the bowl game, missed one game due to injury. But even still had 1,600 yards rushing in 11 games, had 300 yards receiving, returned 14 kicks, 10 punts. I mean, the question that people kept asking David Shaw, like, are you abusing this kid? Are you overworking him and overusing him, using him in all these phases? But he was so dynamic, you had to put him on the field. And I thought of it because when Ryan Clark was here a couple of weeks ago, we brought RC on to talk about Bryce Underwood because RC was the 7-on-7 coach for that tournament, the 7-on-7 tournament down in Orlando a couple of weeks back, and he had Harlem Berry on the team as well. And while we were talking about Bryce Underwood, RC also talked about Harlem Berry. Listen to what he said about, again, a running back in a 7-on-7. Listen to what RC said.
If Harlem Berry doesn't become one of the most dynamic football players in college football. Now, with Harlem, though, it could be. He only gets 12 touches a game, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to be Leonard. You know, it's going to be 12 offensive touches and returns. But in those 18 touches, like, this is a dude that could be 160 all-purpose, 200 all-purpose yards a game for LSU.
I mean, listen to him talk about the all-purpose. And, like, if you go watch the highlights from that 7-on-7, Harlem Berry catching the ball and moving in space, making a guy miss, getting upfield. Like, he looks fluid like a receiver, but he's playing running back. You know, and this is something we have not seen much at LSU just because you're talking about a guy that's so dynamic with a different skill set. Those guys, if you just follow that trajectory, you go like, all right, there was a Reggie Bush, and then a decade later, McCaffrey. Now maybe Harlem Berry. Again, I'm not trying to put that pressure on him, but I'm not the one who made the comp. Like, in my lifetime, the only LSU running back like that was Kevin Faulk. And Kevin Faulk, when he left LSU, it was the SEC's career all-purpose yardage leader and still is, by the way, 25 years later. Because he was a dynamic running back. He also caught passes out of the backfield. As a freshman, caught 5, then 10, then 16, then 22 receptions in 1998. I'm not telling you those are receiver numbers, but for a running back, that's what made him so dynamic. Kevin Faulk is in the New England Patriots Hall of Fame because over his career, he caught 431 passes. By the way, if you look at LSU history in the NFL, LSU players in the NFL, Kevin Faulk has the 6th most receptions, not among running backs, among any LSU player. Think of all the amazing receivers that have come through this program and gone to the NFL. Kevin Faulk has the 6th most NFL receptions from an LSU Tiger. He was that dude. And it might be that a quarter century later now, we're seeing another one of those in Harlem Berry. The one thing with Berry, when you look at the profile, is he's 6 foot 180. So McCaffrey coming out of high school was 6 foot 193. So you'd like to see Berry put on a little bulk and hopefully not lose the speed, the straight line speed, and the athleticism, the shiftiness, the ability to make you miss. But you can kind of see the type of athlete we're talking about. And it's just another reason to get even more excited about that 2025 class and what LSU is building. Because if you're adding Bryce Underwood, who is we use generational talent too much, but when you look at his rating, I mean, he's comping to guys like Bryce Young coming out of high school, like Trevor Lawrence coming out of high school. These amazing 5-star guys that went on to have great college careers. I mean, Bryce Young won a Heisman. Trevor Lawrence won a national championship as a freshman. Like, that's the kind of skill you're getting at quarterback, and then you're adding a Harlem Berry there as well. Yeah, like, I'm trying to contain my enthusiasm a bit, but making that comp to that type of player and having it color the comments that RC made here a couple of weeks ago, just underscore, bold, italic, exclamation, what the expectation should be for a guy like Harlem Berry, a 5-star from St. Martin Episcopal, coming into LSU for the 2025 season. Okay, it's after further review. Ross Dellinger, just as we were supposed to have Delly on the show, the news broke that the SEC has voted to the presidents and chancellors have voted unanimously to authorize the consolidated settle agreement with the House and the NCAA. So Ross even told me, he was like, we may have news right about that time. So he was good to bump. We'll see if we can get him. If we can't, totally understand. But We'll see if we can get Delly when we come back. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. A&M does hit a solo homer here in the top of the ninth, so it's 7-4. There is a man on base as well. I mean, Muse, could we get a 3-run bomb here, man?
Of course you could. I mean, you need another guy on base, obviously, but yeah, it's baseball.
They had the opportunity in the 8th.
They did.
But Tennessee is an out away from ending this, so it looks like if this ends here, LSU and South Carolina will begin right at about 5 o'clock Central. So again, 30 minutes after the completion of this game is when LSU South Carolina will start. A&M's down to their final out, but they do have a man on, and they're down 3. We'll let you know how this goes as it progresses. Okay, it's after further review. Quick break. We'll see if we can connect with Delly next on AFR.
AFR.
Action Industries, a proud partner of LSU Athletics, and Action Industries, a proud community partner as well. Action Industries has been servicing the petrochemical and refinery markets since 1982, the year I was born. 42 years Action Industries has been around. And the thing about Action Industries that sets them apart, look, if you're a maintenance manager, a turnaround coordinator, sometimes you understand when you're hiring industrial contractors to come into the plant, obviously you have to have an exemplary safety record, and they do at Action. Their safety record beats the industry standard. And the reason they've been around for 42 years and continue to get hired time and time again is because their work is fantastic. They're committed to excellence, so they keep getting rehired. But at the same time, sometimes when you hire these mega corporations, you're not their number one priority. At Action Industries, you hire them to do a 100-man job, you are their number one priority. You are getting their best every time. It's Action Industries. Check them out online or on LinkedIn. It's Action Industries, a proud partner of LSU Athletics.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
after further review with Matt Moscona.
Well, it's a busy day on Capitol Hill. Ross Dellinger, Yahoo, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes. How are you, Delly?
Good, Matt. How you doing?
Really well. Imagine someone's been in a coma. They just woke up. They have no idea what this story is. Explain to them in less than 60 seconds what is happening.
Oh, goodness, less than 60 seconds. All right, I'll do my best. The NCAA and the 5 power conferences are settling 3 separate antitrust cases that have been consolidated into one settlement agreement. And the settlement is basically 2 parts. One is back damages owed to athletes for their NIL, the 4 years prior to NIL. That will cost $2.8 billion over 10 years, paid over 10 years. And the second part is probably the most important, and it is a new model, a revenue-sharing model going forward for athletes. And schools will be able to, specifically the power leagues, will be able to share anywhere from probably 20 to 22 million, at least starting out per year, to their athletes.
I thought you did an absolutely exceptional job of explaining that, and you did it almost in 60 seconds. It's as if you're like actually a radio guy who has that internal clock in your head. I'm not even joking. That was very, very well done. Why? The answer might seem obvious, but I'm going to leave this open-ended for you. Why is this significant?
Well, I mean, because athletes are going to get cash directly from schools, which has happened, right? You have Alston payments, which is like an educationally related benefit. It's about $6,000 per athlete per year. And you have cost of attendance, which is $2,000 to $3,000. But you never had something this significant, right? You have, let's say, the cap in this new model will be implemented next year, by the way, right? So fall 2025. So the cap may start, the salary cap may start at $22 million, somewhere around there. So you can imagine that number per athlete, especially like a football player might be. And we've just never seen that, right? We've never seen compensation directly from a school to athletes in those type of numbers. We're used to tuition and room and board and all that. So it's significant from that standpoint. It's another small, maybe big step toward, what many people believe is the end of the line, which is collective bargaining and employment for college athletes, especially major college athletes. So it's certainly very significant. And also there's some other significant pieces outside of the money, which is number one, allegedly, according to college leaders, this settlement will protect the NCAA and conferences from future legal compensation challenges from players. So there's that. It also, because it's 10 years in length, will keep together the power leagues underneath the NCAA umbrella. Now, it'll look a lot different because part of the revenue sharing model is a completely different enforcement and governing model where power conferences will be able to make their own rules a little more and enforce them a little probably differently than they have in the past. So those are some. And then, of course, you have the scholarship roster limitation change as well. That's part of this, too. So there's a lot of non-monetary parts of this. And I'm sure your listeners will be most interested in the scholarship roster situation, that very much will impact the sport like baseball.
So my biggest question for this is how it all is impacted by Title IX, but can you elaborate a little bit on the scholarship portion of it?
Well, Title IX is the biggest probably issue, yes, with all of it. But so right now, only a select sports actually have a roster limit. Most sports just have a scholarship limit. Basically, you can get this many. Football it's 85, and usually the football roster is around 120, 130, something like that. Baseball does have a roster limit. I think it's 32. You can spread out 11.7 scholarships over, I think, 32. It used to be 27, and they expanded it to 32. So now what will happen is that scholarship limit will go away. and you'll just have the roster limit. So every sport will have a roster limit, and you can provide a full scholarship for each roster spot to whatever the roster limit is. So baseball, if the roster limit right now for scholarships is 32, if they keep it there in the future model, conceivably, Matt, you have the choice to supply 32 scholarships to 32 baseball players, and so on for each sport. Football is different. So in pretty much every sport except maybe football and basketball, you will have scholarships probably expand in after roster limits are set. But in football especially, you won't, right? You probably won't. They're talking about putting a roster limit of football at 85, which means no walk-ons, right? Because you'll have 85 minimum, or the NCAA maximum of scholarships is 85 right now. Now that's the discussion point. It's not finalized at all. It could move to 90. It could be 95, which would mean you'd have 95 scholarships. You could offer 95 scholarships. So that's the change when it comes to roster and scholarships. The biggest change will be football having potentially much fewer walk-ons, and two, all these equivalency sports where you used to spread over a small amount of scholarships over a big roster like baseball, swimming, track. Now you're going to have roster limits in all those that might constrict a roster, Matt, but will allow you to spread more scholarships over that roster.
Ross Dellinger is with us on Twitter at Ross Dellinger. By the way, I want to compliment you, the piece that you have up at Yahoo right now on this whole matter from was it yesterday or was it 2 days ago? Yesterday. It was very well done. I retweeted it, and hat tip to Yahoo for not succumbing to the paywall. So you can go read it for free, and I would recommend anybody go do it. There's several other things here that are pretty fascinating. I could talk about this forever, but I think you're doing a really good job of explaining this. The $2.8 billion over 10 years that's going to be distributed. Who pays that?
Yeah. So it will be split between the NCAA's national office and the schools, right? So the NCAA has distributions every year to each school, and those distributions come from NCAA men's basketball tournament, most of them. They distribute more than $700 million annually to all the schools, spread out based on each school's performance in the NCAA basketball tournament and some other things as well. Well, that distribution money, that's where it'll come from, to the school side. So the NCAA national office will take 40% of the $2.8 billion, and the schools will take 60%, and that 60% is going to come from basically money distributed from the NCAA through the NCAA basketball tournament. Now, the NCAA's portion, the national office's portion, will come from like a reduction in expenses. They'll cut a lot. They may cut people, unfortunately. They'll use reserves, and they'll use some insurance. But it's basically 60-40. Now, the big issue is that of the 60% coming from the schools, only 40% of that will come from the power conferences, and 60% of that will come from every other league.
Awesome.
Which is angering, you can imagine, every other league, especially the small schools like the Patriot League or the Ivy League, which a cut from NCAA distribution for them is a bigger impact than a cut of NCAA distribution from a power conference school that, obviously makes more in TV revenue and ticket sales. So that's been an issue of consternation for sure.
Well, that's their fault. You want to play with the big guys, it's your fault. You get what comes your way. You know how you and I have had this conversation enough over the years.
Yep.
And I know I don't have a ton of time, but there's a lot I still want to get to. Ross Dellinger is our guest. Of that $2.8 billion, is that going to players or is that going to conferences/schools?
No, the $2.8 billion is back damages to players.
So how do you determine what players get what? Do you go back 100 years?
Yeah.
How far back do you go? Do
great.
Millions of players get like $10 each?
We had I had a story a couple of days ago, and this from the plaintiff's attorney. I asked him to explain it to me, and he did to an extent. And I'll have more about this actually tonight or tomorrow at Yahoo. But it is complicated. They're using an it's basically 15,000, somewhere around 15 to 20,000 athletes in this class, and they'll spread the $2.8 billion over those athletes, but they will not all get an even amount. They'll use what's called an allocation formula to distribute the money. And the formula will be based around what an athlete could have gotten in third-party NIL, number one, what an athlete was valued at for the use of their name, image, and likeness on TV broadcast, number two, and number three is their use in the video game stuff, what their value would be on that. The biggest one is broadcast NIL. So you'll see a star football player, maybe and all this money, Matt, is $2.8 billion and spread over 10 years. So maybe each year, a Trevor Lawrence, right, will get, $50,000, and by the end of this thing, he gets $500,000 of the $2.8 billion.
So
but a swimmer who doesn't have broadcast NIL might get $1,000 every year for 10 years for $10,000. So it's going to be spread very unevenly.
So good. I love it. Yeah, this should be equitable. Like, you should get your value. This is the problem for college sports for 100 years. Like, you screwed up for 100 years, now you got to pay the piper. Okay, last thing. This for me, Delly, is the single biggest thing that fans should care about. When you go to a rev share, that means whatever money you're bringing in, like we know athletic departments right now, they spend all their money. Very few actually make money. So they're going to have to cut expenses, travel expenses, recruiting expenses, people. Like, they're going to have to do that to share revenue with players. What do you think is the biggest net effect of a revenue share?
Yeah, it's a good question. You know what it's going to be, and I had a story yesterday on this, Matt. It's going to be the entrance into college athletics of private equity and private capital, because schools are going to be searching for money, and this is a realm in which we haven't seen enter college athletics, that because of the money that is needed, and because schools never saved money, right, because they just spent it, right? When they colleges for years, right, don't really save a whole lot of money in reserves. They spend it. They pump it back into the department, whether that's to fund Olympic sports that lose money, or whether that's to fund additional scholarships or coaching salaries. Some coaches get paid $10 million plus a year, as you know. But now, because they don't have this money, they're going to need it in fast cash is available in the private capital, private equity world. And I guarantee there's going to be 5, 10, 15 schools, especially in the ACC and Big 12, who don't have new CFP money and new TV money coming to them, that they will dabble in this.
That is the piece that I shared yesterday that I was referring to. That was very, very well done and is fascinating. I would highly recommend you go to Yahoo and read it. It's on Delly's Twitter. It's on my Twitter. It's just so interesting how this is evolving. We are just in the most pivotal point in the history of college athletics, and it's just not even debatable. Great job. Thank you so much for the time. We could talk about this for an hour, but I got to run. So thank you very much.
All right, buddy. See you.
All right, that's Ross Dellinger on Twitter, @RossDellinger. I got to go. Tigers and the Pros next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Buying or selling commercial or residential, you need a realtor, you need Darren James. And yes, you do need a realtor. I have told you this statistic for years, but 73%, nearly 3 out of 4 people that list their home for sale by owner end up hiring a realtor. Maybe it's that you don't know how to properly price your home. Maybe it's that all of the paperwork involved is just too much. Maybe it's that you're just not home for showings all the time. Whatever the case may be, you need a realtor, you need the best, you need Darren James. On the Wall Street Journal's Real Trends list of the top 1% of realtors in America. And I give you a cell phone number every day, so just call him. 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2, Muso, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, let's start with the Western Conference Finals. Game number 1 last night. Naz Reid, 15 points, 5 rebounds. That in 24 minutes off the bench. Shot 50% from three-point, but the Timberwolves fell 108-105 in game number 1.
Just Dave.
Paul Skeens is back on the mound today in a start. 6 innings, 6 hits, but only 1 run. Struck out 3 and walked 1 through 93 pitches. Got a no decision because the Pirates' bullpen stinks.
Are you kidding me?
Nope, they lost the game.
They had a grand slam and we're up 5-1 in the 4th, the 5th.
Yeah, he left with a 5-1 lead, and they lost.
What?
Yeah, no decision for Paul Skeens. Second one of his career so far.
Oh, my God.
He's going to end up with like 25
It's going to be the
year.
same thing as Aaron Nola,
Yep.
man.
We're going to have to hate on the Pirates.
Total garbage team. Unbelievable.
Last night, Josh Smith turned in a really nice night. There we go. 2 for 2, Smitty. Both singles, 2 RBI as well, and drove in a walk. Up to 20 RBI on the season and the average at 286. Tonight on the bump for the Toronto Blue Jays is Kevin Gausman. Gauss looking to run his record to 500. He's 2-3 so far on the year with an ERA just south of 5, 43 strikeouts in 42 2/3 innings. That is Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com, pure-restoration.com. purerestoration.com, or just do what you're going to do, which is email me or text me and be like, hey, Scone, what's the mold thing you talk about? Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. It doesn't matter if it's your home, office building, any type of commercial building. Pure Restoration has fogged one of the largest buildings in the state of Louisiana. It's amazing. It was like a 250,000 square foot building they fogged. And they can also fog your residential home. Anywhere in the state of Louisiana, Pure Restoration is the #1 dry fogging producer in the United States. Out of nearly 200 companies that have a license for this patented non-toxic dry fog, nobody does more business than Pure Restoration. Pure-restoration.com. Pure-restoration.com. From your house to your largest commercial property, you need Pure Restoration. Okay, it's after further review. They've gone final there at the Hoover Met with Tennessee and Texas A&M. LSU South Carolina first pitch is scheduled for 5:10. So we're looking at about 15 minutes or so from first pitch. The LSU lineup is posted. We mentioned it at the end of last hour, but I'll run through it again really quickly here. So the only notable change is that Jake Brown goes into center for Mac Bingham. Get you another left-handed bat in the lineup. I know Jay's been leaning on Bingham as a veteran player, but like we've talked about there in center all year, your Paxton Kling is your best defensive outfielder, but a close second behind Kling is Jake Brown. And if you have an opportunity to get a left-handed bat in the lineup against the right-handed starter for South Carolina, that's what they're doing. So Braswell, White, Jones. So really no changes. Braswell, White, Jones, Pearson, Travinsky, Milam, Brown, Larson, Milazzo. The only change there, of course, is Brown batting 7th in center field. So Braswell, White, Jones, Pearson, Travinsky, Milam, Brown, Larson, Milazzo, and Thatcher Herd on the bump for LSU. We've talked about plenty today, the decision to start Thatcher Herd in this ballgame. He did go 5 1/3 last year in the SEC tournament against South Carolina and pitched very well. So maybe Jay trying to run it back, see if he can find some of that postseason magic from Thatcher Herd again. All right, hour number 3 after SportsCenter.
AFR.
If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Your first call for agriculture is First South Farm Credit. Your first call for that recreational property is First South Farm Credit. Your first call when you're thinking about buying that property to build your family's dream home, maybe you want 20 acres in St. Francisville or Covington or wherever it may be, first call is First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Had lunch last Friday with Ben and Tim from over at First South Farm Credit. And it was so interesting as I continue to learn this space and this business more and more. This is such a huge time because people who want to buy that hunting property, you buy now in the spring and summer because you're getting your deer stand and your plots already now, so you're not doing it during hunting season. So now's the time. firstsouthland.com.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Game 2 of the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals tonight in Boston. The Celtics lead the Pacers after capitalizing on Indiana mistakes in Game 1. ESPN's Michael Wilbon thinks the series could already be over.
I think they gave the series away because I just don't know that you recover even emotionally from something like that. The team made all kinds of mistakes. They turned it over 21, 22 times. Rick Carlisle said, put it on me. There's a bushel full of mistakes.
Mike Wilbon on PTI. Game 2 coverage tonight for the Celtics and Pacers, tipping off just after 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio and TV. The Cavaliers fire head coach J.B. Bickerstaff today. The Cavs reach the second round of the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. Game 1 of the Western Final for the Stars and Oilers in Dallas. The Devils hire Sheldon Keefe as the team's new head coach. ESPN's Emily Kaplan reports Keefe will get a 4-year contract. Just 2 weeks ago, he was fired as coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Jacob Beck. You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Little less than 10 minutes away from first pitch, LSU and South Carolina from the Hoover Met. We will keep you posted as that game goes along, but glad you're with us, so buckle up, stick around. If you want the game, of course, it's on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. You can watch the game on SEC Network. We're here and glad you are as well. Ever since Brian Kelly got the LSU job, if you go back to his introductory press conference, he talked about recruiting the state of Louisiana. I asked him the question because he had several notable recruiting wins over the years. Most recently, getting Logan Diggs from Rummel up to South Bend. And he talked about how he wanted to build his roster. Recruit the state, recruit and develop, supplement with the transfer portal. And he has been very consistent with that message, that approach, for as long as he has been the LSU coach. As a matter of fact, just a couple of months ago, again, remember, I just told you what Brian Kelly said 3 years ago. This was less than 3 months ago.
For me, I think the business plan has been all along to pull our base here in the state of Louisiana, develop the high school player, and then by doing so, you develop a relationship and a trust and an allegiance to the young man that's in your program. That doesn't mean you don't use the transfer portal. I think you've got to be strategic in it, and you've got to be in it when you need it.
The reason I bring this up today is I do a lot of interviews. I get to go on a lot of other people's shows and stations to talk about LSU, and I'm always humble when people ask. I even did an interview today on WJOX in Birmingham, and I've been asked so many times about the approach to roster building for Brian Kelly. And it came up recently again because of Brian Kelly's comments to Jacques Doucet, where he said, now sort of infamously, we're not going to buy a player. And though we talked about it here, where he gave a very thoughtful, context-laden 3.5-minute answer, but all anybody heard was that one line. But I get asked all the time about Brian Kelly's plan, which you just heard, to build the roster, which is recruit Louisiana, develop, and then supplement through the portal. And I don't know if that's going to work. It sounds good, but I don't know if it's going to work. We don't have a large enough sample yet. This will be a very telling year. But I thought of it today because ESPN put out its newcomer class ranking. So they ranked the schools with their newcomers, combining their recruiting class and their transfers. So basically a blended ranking, but really this is about the transfers that you're bringing, the new players that you're bringing into the roster. And LSU ranked 16th on this list. And I know the immediate reaction is probably to look at that and go, 16th. But I actually think this is a great reflection and validation of what Brian Kelly is trying to do. Let me explain. The number one team on this list is Texas. Now, Texas spending a lot of money in the portal, and they're trying to win now. The number two team on this list, Ohio State. Is it safe to say that Ryan Day has a little bit of a temperature on his seat, considering he hasn't beaten Michigan in 3 years, and Michigan just won a national title? And if Ohio State people hate anything more than them not winning, it's Michigan. It's watching Michigan win. So they got pressure. Number three is one we've talked about a lot here. Ole Miss is number 3 on the list. They are all in the portal this year. You see what I'm saying? Like, when you start to look at a theme here, Miami is 4. Yeah, Mario Cristobal trying to get it done now. Oregon, 5, moving into the Big Ten. A lot of pressure there. Bama, 6. Now, that's obvious because you lost your head coach in Nick Saban. You had this massive exodus, so you had to sign a ton of players coming in. Texas A&M, 7. Same thing. Fired your coach. Lost 30 players. Colorado, 8. Same thing. Massive exodus year after year. But you know what we're not talking about? We're not talking about consistently awesome teams. Bama has been, but it's an outlier now because of what happened with Nick Saban leaving. Do you understand? Like, who's the best program in college football the last half decade? Who's the best program in college football the last half decade? Best program?
Georgia.
Georgia. You know where Georgia is on this list? 12. Is anybody concerned about Georgia's roster? I'm not. You want to know why? Because they keep pumping out top-tier recruiting classes, and they supplement in the portal where they need to, which is exactly what Brian Kelly's talking about. So if I lay this out a bit more, and I hope this isn't too many numbers where it's lost in an auditory medium, but in 2022, Brian Kelly's first year, the transfer class was ranked 3rd in the country. 3rd. They signed 15 players. Yeah, their transfer class was ranked high because they had 15 players in the portal they signed. Their high school class was 12th. Last year, 23, LSU's transfer class ranked 5th. They had 13 players they signed out of the portal. Their high school class was 6th. This year, LSU's transfer class this year is ranked 41st in the country. 41st. And you may look at that and go, oh, man, 41st. Now, yes, you would have loved to have gotten Dominic Williams. You would have loved to have gotten Simeon Barrow, one of those starting caliber defensive linemen. But I got news for you. Even if you would have gotten one of those guys, you're going from 45th to 40th, 38th. You're still nowhere near the top. You had 8 commitments out of the portal. Your high school class was another top 10 class. You were 7th. So the point is, the fact that LSU on this list today was 16th, I think is actually really validating that Brian Kelly is implementing the plan he wants to implement, which is, I don't want to be first in the transfer portal rankings. Because if you're first in the transfer portal rankings, it means you have massive turnover of your roster. It means you're not doing the thing that's the core ethos of what you're doing, which is recruit Louisiana and develop. So, has he done that? He's recruited Louisiana. We've talked about it, about how you've seen this dramatic shift in 3 years to the number of players from this state that he is recruiting relative to other states. That is a giant difference from what it was the first year when you had double-digit states represented in LSU's first class under Brian Kelly that Brian Polian pulled in. I've talked about that sort of ad nauseum here. You've all heard me say it before. But when I look at what Brian Kelly is doing, he's very clearly succeeding in building the structure he wants. What I don't know is if it's going to work, if it's going to translate to wins. Look at the programs on this list that we're talking about today ahead of Georgia. Again, the incoming or newcomer class rankings. Programs ahead of Georgia. Cal, Louisville, Michigan State, Colorado. Do you see my point? I don't want to be Cal or Michigan State or Louisville or Colorado. I want to be Georgia. So what's Georgia doing? Recruiting at state, supplementing with the portal. By the way, something I am very fond of saying and have said for years here, LSU is one of 3 states. LSU is one of 3 programs, only 3 in the country, that have the advantage in the dirt. What I say when I mean that is this. You are the only Power 5 in a talent-rich state. The only Power 5 in a talent-rich state. There's plenty of talent-rich states. Florida's talent-rich. You got Florida, Florida State, Miami. You got poachers all over the place. Alabama's got a lot of talent. We got Alabama and Auburn. Texas has a ton of talent. We got Texas and Texas A&M and Texas Tech, and now SMU's a Power 5. Baylor, you get it. TCU. You're competing. At LSU, you don't have that competition. Will Campbell, if he wanted to, after last season, could have gone into the transfer portal, named his price, and somebody would have paid it. But he's effectively, quote-unquote, taking less to stay here because he wants to be an LSU Tiger. That is your advantage. The other 2 states that have that advantage, outside of LSU at Louisiana, Georgia and Ohio State. With respect to Georgia Tech, they're not fishing in the same pool or playing the same game that Georgia is. That is a talent-rich state, and they are the only game in town. Same thing with Ohio State. So, how's Georgia done it? Get the best players in your state and then supplement in the portal and cherry pick nationally. If you're LSU and you can go get Bryce Underwood out of Michigan, of course you do it. But all the other programs that I mentioned that are at the top of that list, they are in desperate win-now mode. Texas is in desperate win-now mode coming into the SEC. Ohio State and Ryan Day has a lot of pressure because he's lost 3 years in a row to Michigan. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin knows this is it. Like, it is a full-on swing. So the question is that sustainable? I don't think it is. That doesn't feel like a sustainable model. You know what does feel sustainable? What Brian Kelly's doing, which is to say, we are going to recruit and develop kids from our state and supplement with great players from the portal. Now, one way this could go is what we've seen the last 2 years. Walker Howard from Louisiana, 5-star quarterback, stayed a year, went to the portal. Lance Herd, 5-star offensive lineman from Louisiana, was here a year, went in the portal. Lost both those guys to SEC schools, by the way. It could go that way. And you're always going to lose players. But can you maintain enough of them to develop and continue to build this program? Now, this is going to be a crucial year to speak to that. Before last season, Brian Kelly gave an interview when he was asked if his team was going to be a title contender going into year 2, and he said, usually it takes 3 years to implement my culture, to get things rolling. And everywhere he's been, year 3 is when they hit the kaboom. At Notre Dame, year 3 was when they went undefeated, played Alabama in the national championship in 2012. Year 3 at Cincinnati, they were in the Sugar Bowl. Like, that's what he did. Year 3 is generally when he sees that meteoric rise. Now, there's different variables now. There's NIL, there's portal, there's a 12-team playoff, so there's some variables we don't know. But if Brian Kelly's goal is recruit and develop, as he said, well, Jacobian Guillory's a 5th-year player. Develop him. Jalen Lee's a 5th-year player. Develop him. Greg Penn, develop him. Harold Perkins, 3rd year, develop him. We know he's a freak show on the edge. Can you make him an every down linebacker? That's development. Stamps and Toviano, freshman last year, what's their development like? Sage Ryan was a 5-star when he got here. He's back for another year, probably playing his more natural position. Have you developed him? Let's find out. If your goal is recruit and develop, I went through the numbers. They've recruited. The high school class rankings that BK's had, 12, 6, 7. You're there. You've brought your portal numbers down from 15 to 13 to 8 because you want to recruit and develop high school, supplement portal. You don't want to build through the portal. I get it. So you've done it. You're now in year 3. How have you developed this talent? That's the answer we'll get this year in a 3-year sample. And I think it'll be a huge telltale as to if this model is going to work or if you have to go the model of Ole Miss and Texas and the other teams at the top of that list that I mentioned where they're going into the portal and going ham on numbers and talent because that's how you win now. I don't think any of us know the answer yet. There's not a large enough sample size yet of portal NIL to know what the answer is. Brian Kelly's telling you how he's trying to do it. And that the list I saw today was an illustration, seeing LSU 16th in newcomer class rankings, that it's going exactly how he wants it to go. You don't want to be high on that list. That means you went ham in the portal. Louisville's ahead of LSU. Do you think LSU and Louisville are competing on the same level? Absolutely not. But when Louisville goes out there and signs 20 guys out of the portal, because of the volume, of course they're going to be higher on that list. It's going to be a fascinating year, not just this season losing Jaden Daniels and Mike Denbrock and Neighbors and Thomas and all the talent, but it's going to be a fascinating test case to see if the model Brian Kelly is trying to use will actually work and be sustainable. This list tells you he's building it. This is confirmation that what he's trying to build is work. He's building it the way he wants. Can you win at the highest level with this model? We'll start to find out this year. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Hey, Memorial Day weekend is here. I know a lot of people are going to have some time off of work. If you get by South Point Volkswagen, they got a great Memorial Day celebration sale going on across the lot with their new inventory. If it's Atlas, Cross Sport, Tiguan, Jetta, they've got all the Taos, 0% for 60 months on 2024 Taos right now. That's the compact SUV. Check it out at South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Airline just north of Highland, or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Okay, they're underway in Hoover. LSU goes quietly in the first. South Carolina batting bottom of the first. Thatcher Herd facing the first batter of the game. There's a 2-1 count. So we'll see how Herd gets this half inning. We'll come back, get you an update there. It's after further review. Don't you move.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, Injury Attorneys. Of course, Gordon wishing everyone a very happy Memorial Day and sincere thanks to the many women and men who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. Of course, Gordon also a great supporter of Tiger Athletics. He's been awesome with the G team. As we look up at the screen, we see G team members like Hayden Travinsky and Bear Jones and Josh Pearson and so many great Tigers that are on the G team. Hey, listen, if you want to learn more about the G team, see some of the great content that Gordon's had with those guys, you can always go to GordonGives.com. GordonGives.com. It's where you have the link for all the Grubbin with G and all the fun content. You can follow any of their social media platforms at GetGordon. At GetGordon is where you can find them on any social media. And, of course, if you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Go to GetGordon.com. GetGordon.com. Or call 888-8888. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Thatcher Herd goes strikeout to start the game.
Yes, both looking. One on a curveball, one on a fastball.
2-2. Here with 2 outs, bottom of the first. LSU went quietly in the top of the first against South Carolina, but I'd give her Jay Johnson, and you put Herd out there. give him the ball today, not knowing exactly what you'd get and how deep you might go into the game. You literally can't have a better start to this, to go strikeout to start the game. 2-2 count here with 2 outs, bottom one. We'll see if Herd can get out of this. We had Doug Thompson with us last hour from the Hoover Met. Kind of said he thought maybe he couldn't necessarily see Herd going longer than 3. I don't know about that. I mean, I think if you're Jay and you can get some length out of Herd here, a little flare to shallow left falls. That was an excuse me inside out.
Yeah, that was crap.
Yeah. I mean, that was barely.
That was crap.
Yeah, that was crap. It's baseball.
Yeah.
As
it'll even out.
As Roger Cador would say, you could hit a ball 350 feet, it's an out. You could hit a ball in front of the plate, it's a single. That's baseball. I do a terrible Roger Cador
I don't know. That wasn't that bad.
I don't know. I think I do a terrible Roger
Okay.
Cador. But anyway, so Cole Messina's up now with a runner on first and 2 outs. Herd going. Like, I would think they would extend Herd here if possible today. Yes? You?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, they extended both Jump and Holman on 4 days rest. It's been a lot longer for Herd, especially in a length capacity. I mean, I know he pitched Saturday, but in a length capacity, it's been a lot longer. So if he's going good, sure, by all means, man. And LSU's done great at conserving pitching, actually, here. You used 4 pitchers.
The one thing I would say, though, about Herd, and you're right that he hasn't, we talked about it. I mean, I had all his stats right. He hasn't pitched. He pitched an inning and a third against SEC competition since Florida. And then went an inning and 2/3 against Ole Miss. But I'm looking at he threw 90 pitches in that game against Florida back on March the 24th. Since then, the most pitches he's thrown is 38 against UNO on April the 16th. So we haven't seen him extend. Like, I do wonder, like, if you've been punch out there looking for a...
That's the side looking.
So Herd strikes out the side in the first, all 3 looking. And the only runner on base there was a cheap inside-out swing that flared over Braswell's head at short. The only thing that I wonder, and I just don't know this answer, like only time will tell, and we'll know with Herd, but when you haven't thrown more than 38 pitches since March the 24th, it's 2 months. In 2 months, you haven't thrown more than 38 pitches. Like, can you go give me 70 pitches today? Can you go give me 90 pitches today? I don't know. But if he can, he's going good, clearly you ride him for as long as he can go.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? It's is he conditioned to do it still, or is it, well, man, he's fresh, So I guess we'll get our answer. But that was a great first inning there. I mean, goodness gracious. To go through the top of that order, the top 4 have been incredible in 2 games, and he punched out 3 looking.
That's what we talked about in the hour one with David Cloninger.
Yeah.
You get, and look, Petrie had a rough day yesterday, but still, you get through the top of that order, there's not much toward the bottom, so it makes you feel like, all right, Herd's going to get you through this lineup at least once. I mean, it could always fall apart. I don't mean, but the way he looks sharp, I mean, 3 strikeouts, all looking, he gets you through the lineup once. All right, then, you go to the middle innings saying, let's see what you got, kid. Let's see how deep you can extend in this ballgame once they see you a second time. So, but great start for Thatcher Herd. All right, it's after further review. Brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. For 3.5 years, I've told you, do business with someone you know. And that hasn't changed. We just started a new company. It's Parrish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. One real cool thing that we put up today on social media, if you're interested. So Parrish, we sponsored one of the fields over at Traction. So big, obviously with Terrio being one of our partners, big supporters of youth baseball and youth softball. And so one of the fields out at Traction now has the giant Parrish sign, billboard on the wall. Brings new definition to the green monster out there. But we have a time-lapse video of the sign going up if you want to check it out. It's on all the social media platforms there. Parrish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Love to give you that free, no-obligation roofing inspection. I think you might have a roof damage. Let our inspectors come out. I've been so humbled over the last couple of weeks since we announced this launch at how many people have reached out. And like I keep saying, it's all of our same people. It's me, it's Terrio, it's Richard Tilley, it's Joe Morales. We've added great new members to the team as well. We even have the same phone number, 364-1007, 364-1007. But you can always go to the website at parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing, parrishbuilt.com. The Major League Baseball, it's interesting how in back-to-back days now we've had this conversation about technology in professional sports. Yesterday, it was the NFL implementing this technology to measure first downs. And I've made fun of them since 2006. Tennis has used this technology with their Eagle View, where you can, if you ever watch a tennis match, you'll see they'll go to those cameras where they could show you with imagery if a ball landed in or out on a line. Tennis has used this since 2006. And NFL is just now going to it. We've had K-Zone in baseball broadcasts for that long, and the MLB says robo-umps at home plate are unlikely for 2025. Rob Manfred said there's not been as much progress in the minor leagues this year as they had hoped for. I am baffled. Can anyone help me with this? What does that mean by progress? I mean, I watch baseball. You watch baseball. There's a game on. There's a little box on the screen. The ball dots on the box. It's either a strike or it's not. What progress do we need to see? Like, what am I missing? Did they not get it from the little box on the screen up into the scoreboard fast enough? Like, I'm sorry, you had to wait a half a second instead of waiting for some fat guy behind the plate to go, ha! Ha! What progress do we need? And you got anything? I'm serious.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an answer. No, it's a computer.
Baseball. I love it. I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it because I love it. You know what I mean? It's like when you love something so much, you want to see it do well and thrive.
Yep.
It's like when you're, as a parent, you get so pissed at your kid when they're idiots. You love them, but it's like, hey, stop being an idiot. I love you, but you're an idiot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Baseball.
Yeah.
We haven't seen enough progress.
It's so stupid. Manfred's an idiot. God.
A little box right there. I mean, how long have we had K-Zone? Google that. Hey, Siri, how long have we had K-Zone in baseball? Okay. You're stupid too, Siri. Shut up. Well, you could run MLB. Whatever. Did you Google it?
Well, I stopped whenever you Googled when you said Siri, so I stopped. Thought she was going to answer.
Okay. It's after further review. We're glad you're here with us. Is that Pearson on first? Who got on base?
Pearson, he walked.
All right, Pearson walked. So 1 on, 1 out, top 2, mile them up for LSU there as they play on in Hoover. Good first inning for Thatcher Herd. We're glad you're with us here. And I understand, listen, for most people, if you want to watch the game, you're watching to or listening to the game. There's a lot of you may be watching that, listening to us. I'm very grateful if you are. And then there's a lot of people here who don't care about the game who are listening. So generally, my rule would be we'll talk about anything other than the game when the game's going on. When we come back, there are 2 things that are going to pretty significantly change the way you consume sports you love on television. And I want to talk about that next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
College football playoffs going to be on TNT? You see this? This is so weird. So ESPN and TNT have reached a 5-year agreement for TNT to sub-license select college football playoff games from ESPN, beginning with this upcoming college football season. So there's going to be a select number of early round CFP games that'll be on TNT. I cannot for the life of me understand. It has to be a financial decision for ESPN. Essentially, you have the rights, and instead of airing the games, you can sub-license this to TNT and have them pay you, and then they're responsible for going selling it and all that sort of stuff. And so you recoup some of your investment assuming you're able to make enough on the championship game and everything else you have there, et cetera. And then you don't have to commit. Well, I guess you would have to commit the resources. This is what's so interesting to me. So does this mean they're like TNT will come up with their own broadcast teams, or is this going to be like the NCAA basketball tournament where it's CBS and all the others, but it's still CBS broadcasting, and they're just, executing the broadcast. It's just over True TV or TNT's air, right? A lot of things to wonder. But anyway, this year, the quarterfinals are the Fiesta, the Peach, the Rose, and the Sugar. And remember, the top 4 get a bye. So the quarterfinals, Fiesta, Peach, Rose, Sugar. The semifinal games will be the Orange and the Cotton, and then the championship game will be in Atlanta this year. So check your local listings. As they say, you'll probably have games on TNT. So weird. I don't know why. Why? Why would they do that? At least it's not True TV.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. You're saying you don't know why they would do that, or you don't know why you think it's weird?
No, I'm. It's really bizarre because none of those games. I can't imagine. Oh, did Ashton Larson just homer?
No.
How did we get a run? Yes, I said we. Ding me.
Dingy. All right, hold on. You had the walk to Pearson. E1 on a pickoff, moving to second. Milam singled. He scored.
Not a babe. I'm not babe. Okay. No, I don't understand why. Like, none of these games are going to be on opposite each other. I can't imagine. Like, it would make sense if you're ESPN, you're like, well, I don't want to cannibalize myself. Put a game on ESPN and a game on 2, right? Like, so let's put our game on ESPN and let TNT have a game if they're head-to-head. But I can't imagine a scenario where the quarterfinals would ever be head up on each other. Like, you could play 2 games on a Saturday and 2 games on a Sunday. Or 2 on a Friday, 2 on a Saturday, however they want to do it. I just can't imagine a scenario where you'd have games head up on each other. And maybe that's how it would play out. But anyway, plan accordingly, as they say. There's also something I'm exceedingly fired up about. Before I get to that, reminder, Supper Club, supperclubbtr.com. Remember, it's $5.39 on a Thursday. I know so many of you right now are knocking off of work, thinking about heading home, and a lot of people on Thursday, that's where the weekend begins, especially going into a holiday weekend. Don't go to the same place you always go. Go to literally the best place to go, Supper Club. But Matt, I don't have a reservation. Don't need one to go to the bar. Co-workers after work, pop on into Supper Club. Right there, Perkins Road near Bluebonnet. Set back. I love the Vegas-style vibe from it, right? It's blacked out, no windows, like a Vegas restaurant or club. The curved walls, the fun floor. They got that carpet from Holland. The chandeliers, I think, came from Italy. The beaded walls, I think, are from Spain or Portugal. Oh, Mackenzie went all out decorating that place for sure. But you could tell. You walk in and you know it is an experience. You want to go have a craft cocktail, a glass of wine, a delicious whiskey, a fine premium whiskey. You could do it at Supper Club. Never need a reservation to walk into the bar. Open seating at the bar every Tuesday through Saturday at Supper Club. Now, also remind you got a special event coming up, an anniversary, a birthday, celebrating a graduate, or you just want a night out. Get your reservations. Supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. Have a meal you will never forget, an experience that's only topped by the meal you'll have. It's at Supper Club. Supperclubbtr.com. I am fired up about this. While I don't understand why ESPN is subleasing these games in the college football playoff, I completely am fired up about the NBA formalizing deals with Disney, Amazon, and NBC. Oh, yeah. The NBA on NBC is coming back. The golden era of the NBA in the 90s with Marv Albert calling games, Michael Jordan and the Bulls. This was as much a part of my sports life experience as anything. I am so fired up about the NBA on NBC coming back. It's time for Round Ball Rock again. Listen, I get it. We all love Inside the NBA. We all love the NBA on TNT. We love Ernie and Chuck and Shaq. We get it. We love the NBA on TNT. But it's going to be even better on NBC because you're going to get John Tesh and Round Ball Rock. Crank it up, Hughes. Because here's the thing. What network wouldn't... People are all worried about this. So, like, here... The NBA is formalizing a deal with Disney, NBC, and Amazon to broadcast their games. It looked like Warner Brothers Discovery is out, which is TNT. ESPN is paying $2.8 billion for the A package, and looks like NBC is going to try a basketball night in America, Sunday night basketball, kind of like they've done with Sunday night football. The deal is more than double what TNT paid a decade ago. So clearly they've had major financial issues, etc. So it's going away from TNT. And I'm not romantic about TNT. I love those guys, and I want all those guys to be on the broadcast. But NBC will hire him. ESPN will hire anybody will hire him just to recreate that show in a different place. How's that any different than when, like, Al Michaels and John Madden were on Sunday Night Football together? How's that any different than Aikman and Buck leaving Fox, going to ESPN? It's still Aikman and Buck. They're just on a new channel. That's all it's going to be with this. It's going to be awesome, too. Nostalgia sells, man. Y'all don't know nothing about the NBA on NBC, do you? Either you don't remember that? No?
I mean, yeah, I don't remember it.
No,
I mean,
go back?
obviously.
No?
I know the song.
Yeah, obviously
If
you
ever
hear
get a
about it.
chance. So, John Tesh tells the story when he wrote this song. You ever heard that?
I've seen this story, yeah.
Tell the story? He called his house, had the concept in his mind, left it on his answering machine of him going like, dun diddy doodly bee. Anyway, it's awesome. And then he played it. He did it at the start of a concert. Then he played it. It's awesome. Round ball rock. Nothing like it. Man, look, it was the NBA Finals on NBC when the OJ Bronco chase happened. I was watching all that on NBC. Incredible. I'm so fired up about this. All right. It's after further review. Thanks for being here with us. Do we have Otter? Did you text him?
I did not text
All right, please
him.
text it. Well, I guess we'll find out in short order here. So I think Otter is taking off from his show tomorrow, off for Memorial Day Monday as well. So I think he told me he wasn't coming on today. But if he's got plays, we'll text him and see what he's got. All right, it's after further review. LSU 1-0. Let's see, they're bottom two out, man on first. Thatcher Herd struck out the side in the first. Did allow one cheap single. How did the guy get on first?
Single.
Single?
Much more solid single.
Okay. So Herd making his way here through the first couple of innings. LSU with a 1-0 lead that they scratched one across there in the second. Stay with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. You know where they are. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Monday, my buddy from Clegg's, Butch Drews, is calling it a career. He's retiring, and Monday's going to be his last day. So if you get to Clegg's this weekend, Clegg's over on Siegen, and you happen to see Butch, make sure you wish him a happy retirement. He's been a great friend, and appreciate him very, very much, and wish him well in retirement. But Clegg's will completely plod on. There are 4 locations and growing. They're expanding the greenhouse there at the Siegen Lane location. You want beautiful flowers and plants and trees and shrubs, they got it. Best selection, best inventory you'll find anywhere. Locally grown plants that are acclimated to South Louisiana, so they're going to thrive and live longer. It's Clegg's Nursery. Get by any of the 4 locations. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in. Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on the Thursday edition of AFR. Some breaking news from Woj. We call that a Woj bomb. No. There it is. Detroit Pistons have landed Trajan Langdon to be the new president of basketball operations. Of course, Trajan Langdon, the current general manager of the New Orleans Pelicans, leaving New Orleans to be the new president of basketball operations there in Detroit. Did you want to pull that? No. You want to grab? Yep. It's all good. Yep, there it is. Well, we're done with the story. Okay, Otterlocks, hit it.
Otterlocks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
Otter, I didn't know if we were going to have you, man. I know you're off tomorrow, long weekend, so I wasn't sure if you were here today, man, but thanks for jumping aboard.
No problem. No problem, Matthew. How are you?
Awesome. Be doing better if we get some winners tonight. Get some cash in the bank account. Let's go. What are we looking at, Otter?
We're gonna go. We're gonna start off with Colucci Super Steam.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with yeah. Let's hit that horn tonight down in Dallas, Big D, and this is one where just kind of the odds makers love Edmonton, so they're flashy, they're high scoring, but man. Much stronger in the pipes. The Stars at home taking care of business tonight. Money line and puck line. Series. The whole shebang. The whole left side of the menu. You know the deal. So,
okay.
And Dallas in 6.
All right. Dallas in 6. Got it. All right. Money line, puck line, Dallas in 6. All right.
Yes. And then in the basketball, I mean, we thought that Indiana's record shooting in the Game 7 in the Madison Square Garden would revert back. Kind of didn't. They shot the lights out again. And, yeah, I like what Boston, the Celtics said after. I mean, they've got to get better. Look, they won it. They stole it from Indiana. You'd think they would be happy, but no, they're like, no, we gotta do better than this. So, lighter line tonight, 8.5 as opposed to 10 2 nights ago. So I think Boston's going to take care of Indiana tonight, and we're going to lay the number there.
All right, Boston laying the 9 at home against the Pacers. All right, any baseball?
Yep. Go to Hoover Met. Mincy's boy. Mincy was going to rough up the whistle, the whistle man. Next thing you know, he's hugging, kissing, and setting dinner down. I like Vandy in that game tonight. We hit on Mississippi State last night. State has carried us the last 2 nights, but not tonight. We're going to take Vandy at even money tonight against Cowbell.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
You had enough cowbell. That's enough cowbell.
More than enough cowbell. I got to have more cowbell. We've had enough cowbell. All right, so Dallas Stars, money line, puck line, Dallas at 6. Boston, the Celtics laying the number. DraftKings is at 9. Otter said you can find it 8.5 out there. Vandy on the money line, -110. Anything in Major League Baseball?
Tomorrow night we're going to look for the T-Wolves to bounce back, too, and lay the number there.
All right, Minnesota tomorrow night against the spread. All right, Otter, so Hanny tomorrow at Rufino's?
Yep, Bruce Marshall and Troy Macker will be in the first hour, and former LSU baseball coach Paul Maneri will join Charlie in hour number 2.
Awesome, man. Hopefully the Tigers have a day off tomorrow. They win here today. They'll have a day off tomorrow and play on Saturday. So always great to hear from Coach Maneri. Right now? LSU's up 1-0. They're headed to the bottom of the third. Thatcher Herd 5 strikeouts through 2 innings already.
Okay.
Dealing. Yeah, man.
Nice.
All right, Otter. Hey, are you getting out of town for the weekend?
Yeah. Yes. So pulling into the Beau Rivage right now, and so my son's in the Dominican Republic and I'm in Biloxi, so
Well, at least you can gamble. Hey. All right, Otter.
Yep. Know your role. Know your role, Matt. Know your role.
Oh, you're a good dad. All right, man. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you.
All right, you too.
We'll see you. That's Otter. We're brought to you by Optimize, GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Been thrilled to tell you about Optimize here these past few months, and man, y'all have responded. They have been overwhelmed by the amount of business that we've sent their way, so thank you. The weather prognosticators, the Hurricane Center, put out today an updated forecast. They're expecting an above-average busy storm season. We're obviously hoping that they all steer clear of us, but you want to be prepared. You want a Generac automatic home standby generator. Optimize, Louisiana's #1 Generac dealer. Servicing the entire 10-12 quarter. Lake Charles to Slidell and every point in between. GeneratorPeople.com. Free 10-year warranty. GeneratorPeople.com. GeneratorPeople.com. Muse, what did you learn today?
Saints better pay up.
Beck, what did you learn today?
Round ball rock is back.
Yeah.
What did you learn, Matt?
Trevor Lawrence is getting like $500,000 from the NCAA settlement. That's what Delly told me anyway. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
All right, y'all. We're getting on down the road. Love telling you about the Williamson Eye Center. I'm sitting here in studio. We got the baseball game on. I can look at the crawl on the bottom, and I can read everything there. MLB, WNBA, golf, NBA, MLB, Sky versus Liberty, 7 Eastern. I mean, the numbers are that big, but I can see them in absolute 20/20 perfect vision. Thanks to Dr. Blake Williamson. 6 years ago, I ditched contacts and glasses forever. I bit the bullet. I had LASIK. It's the best decision I made. Wish I had done it years before. You'll never regret the money you spend on LASIK or a refractive procedure to be able to throw away those contacts and glasses forever. If the thing holding you back is the price, the Williamson Eye Center has so many options to finance to make sure you get the procedure that you need. So don't let that be a barrier. Just go meet with Dr. Blake Williamson. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or online at williamsoneye.com. WilliamsonEye.com. That's Williamson, EYE.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.